friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking all about kombucha and what it is, and then I'm going to show you guys how I've been making my own homemade kombucha. So if you're new around here, my name is Tori and I love creating videos about living a healthy and productive lifestyle. So if you have no idea what kombucha is, or maybe you've heard people talk about it but you don't really understand what it is or why you want to drink it, so basically kombucha is a fermented tea drink that's full of probiotics and good bacteria. Like other fermented food, kombucha is so good for your gut health, which in turn is so good for your skin, immune boosting, weight loss and metabolism, leaky gut, IBS, any type of stomach issues. So the kombucha goes through about a week-long process where this sweet tea is converted by the SCOBY into kombucha. So here's a close-up of the SCOBY, which stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. And this is basically the home or the mother of all the bacteria, and it's what does all of the work. And basically the SCOBY is consuming the sugar, that's what keeps it alive, that's what fuels it, and the sugar is turned into acetic acids, which basically is what makes kombucha kombucha. And then once it's done fermenting, you can either drink it right away or you can do a second fermentation process, which is basically flavoring the kombucha. So most of the kombucha that you buy in stores is flavored, so you can get like berry flavors, ginger, lemon, lavender. So you can basically do all of those flavorings at home. You can choose to sweeten it a little bit more if you want it sweetened. I thought that I would want it sweetened because that's how I'm used to drinking it, but I honestly like it exactly how it is. I don't find that it tastes that much different from the store-bought stuff that has 20 grams of sugar. And I will show you in my video a few different ways that I flavor my kombucha. I do like drinking it plain, but I also like flavoring it a few different ways. I haven't branched out a ton with a lot of different flavors, so I'll update you guys in the future if I decide to do more flavors or anything, but as of right now I've kept it pretty simple. I like it and it just makes it super easy. So until really recently I was so scared of making my own kombucha. I thought it was so scary. The SCOBY like totally freaked me out. I was really scared to mess it up, and then one day I finally just decided to try and do it for myself finally, and you guys, it's so easy. It costs me maybe $1 to make like 3 huge liter bottles of kombucha, whereas I would be spending $4 or $5. I didn't buy kombucha very often because it was so expensive, but it was about $4 or $5 for one like little bottle. Cost savings is so significant, and now I can actually drink it frequently enough that I'm getting the health benefits out of it. You're able to buy a SCOBY. There's lots of different places online that you can buy them. I think even Amazon has some options. I honestly bought one from someone on Facebook Marketplace. It was someone that I didn't know, which I realize sounds really sketchy, but I just kind of felt like if someone was selling a kombucha SCOBY, they were probably a pretty decent person, because that doesn't really seem like something that like a sketchy person would be doing. And also because the SCOBY is a live bacteria, if you're not taking care of it properly, it would have been super obvious. It would have been moldy, and I would have been able to tell that even though I was a beginner. Like, you would definitely be able to tell. So I decided to risk it, and I got one from someone. It was $5 on Facebook Marketplace. They're on Facebook Marketplace in my area all the time, so I'm sure that wherever you live you're able to find one. Otherwise, if you have a friend who makes kombucha, that's an awesome option to get a SCOBY from. So basically the SCOBY keeps growing every week, every time that you're making a new batch. So eventually you actually have to peel back layers, and people need to get rid of those. Otherwise it's just gonna get too big. So anyone who's brewing kombucha will have extra SCOBY babies eventually. So if you have a friend who's brewing it, ask them. Otherwise, look on your Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or Craigslist. Otherwise you can go online and you can get a starter pack that are usually, I think, $20 to $30. And I think even health food stores carry them and stuff. So even if the original investment is $20, you're going to get your money back so fast just not buying store-bought bottles of kombucha, because it's so cheap once you get started. So it's really important to start this process by sterilizing all of the things that you're going to be using. So any pitcher that you're going to be using, any spoons or jars. So I started with all clean things that I had previously cleaned with soap, but I'm just going to soak those in a sink full of hot water and vinegar just to make sure that there's no soap residue left on them. And this is the tea that I use. I prefer green tea over black tea, so that's just my preference, but you can use black tea as well. You want to make sure that you're using tea that doesn't have anything added into it, just plain black or green tea. So then you're going to start with 1 cup of cane sugar. You can use cane sugar or white sugar. And then in your clean pitcher, you're going to put 15 tea bags, as well as that 1 cup of sugar and 6 cups of boiling hot water. And it's really important that you're not using metal during any steps of this, other than if you're using a metal kettle, that's obviously okay. So then you're just gonna let that tea steep for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then once it steeps, you're going to add 8 more cups of room temperature water to it. And then you're just gonna set that mixture aside for several hours until it's completely room temperature. You don't wanna be working with hot tea when you add your SCOBY later. So this is several hours later. My tea is room temperature. So then I'm gonna pour it into this big pitcher that I use for my kombucha along with the SCOBY. And you just wanna use a towel over top of it. You don't wanna completely seal the jar. And you wanna put that aside somewhere that is not high traffic area, that you're not gonna have to move it out all the time, and that the temperature is gonna stay pretty stable. And then you're gonna let that sit for about a week. At a week mark, you're welcome to do a taste test and see if you wanna keep brewing it a few more days. I actually don't do that. I just stop brewing it at 1 week and then I do the second step. Again, it's really important that you're using sterile materials during this whole process. So when I start the second process, I do the same thing with the hot water and vinegar in my kitchen sink to clean everything. So after a week, you're gonna notice that your kombucha has lightened in color. It's normal for there to be little floaties all throughout it. That's just part of the process. So then in this step, I take my SCOBY out just because it works better with this pitcher. The actual nozzle on this doesn't work very well because the little floaties get stuck in it. And I tied a cheesecloth over top of this big pitcher just to strain out any extra little pieces. And then I'm just gonna fill up these 3 full jars of kombucha. And I got these bottles from IKEA. They're the perfect size and I really like them. They fit nicely in my fridge. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but when you originally brew your kombucha, you have the SCOBY with the sweet tea mixture, and you wanna have about 1 cup of starter. So basically 1 cup of pre-made kombucha as part of that mix. And then this next part is optional. You don't have to flavor your kombucha. You can totally just leave it how it is, but I like to flavor it. So my favorite ways are, I do one that's just lemon and I just squeeze up half a lemon and I put it in there. And then I use the other half of that lemon and make one of them lemon and ginger. And I basically just use a cheese grater and I just grate up some fresh ginger. And then I use that other half of that lemon in that one. And then my third bottle, I'm going to flavor with frozen raspberries, and I just put a handful of frozen raspberries in there, and after several hours, it's gonna be this beautiful dark red color. And that's the finished product, which you'll wanna store either in the fridge or in a dark, cold spot, and that'll be good for several weeks. Thank you so much for watching that video. I hope that that was educational and helpful for you. I hope that you have been inspired to start making your own kombucha if that's something that you're interested in. I promise it's so easy and anyone can do it. It's so cheap and totally worth it if you're interested in kombucha and gut health and anything like that. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as that really helps me out. And I'll see you in the next video.